Cyber Threat Brief for February 10, 2026. Today is dominated by Microsoft's February Patch Tuesday, with 6 actively exploited 0 days, the highest this year and matching last March's record. The common thread across CVE 2026-21510, -21513, and -21514 is security feature bypass. Attackers are systematically defeating Smart Screen, Mark of the Web, and OLE protections that users rely on to block malicious files. Combined with the Iventi EPM 0 days hitting European governments and the Warlock ransomware campaign leveraging smarter mail auth bypasses, attackers are consistently targeting trust boundaries, authentication, security prompts, MDM, rather than exploiting memory corruption. Patch immediately and verify that shadow IT instances of email servers and MDM platforms are accounted for. Here's a full breakdown of today's top security stories. Next section, Critical Alerts. Microsoft Patch Tuesday. 6 actively exploited 0 days. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, KEV, Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog. Microsoft released patches for 59 vulnerabilities, including 6 0 days under active exploitation, all added to the CISA KEV catalog today. 3 were publicly disclosed before the patch, meaning exploit details were already circulating. Highest Severity 0 days, CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 8.8, CVE 2026-21510, Windows Shell, single-click bypass of Smart Screen and Shell security prompts. Attacker-controlled content executes without warning. Affects all supported Windows versions. Functional exploit techniques already exist for phishing via crafted links and LNK files. CVE 2026-21513, MSHTML/Internet Explorer Engine security feature bypass via malicious HTML or LNK files leading to code execution. Still relevant because legacy, MSHTML, is used by Windows components beyond IE. Additional 0 days, CVSS 7.8, CVE 2026-21514, Microsoft Word, bypasses OLE mitigations, allowing access to COM/OLE controls via malicious Office file. Preview pane is not an attack vector. CVE 2026-21519, Desktop Window Manager, type confusion leading to system privileges. Second consecutive month with a DWM 0 day, suggesting the January patch was incomplete. CVE 2026-21533, Windows Remote Desktop Services, elevation of privilege to system via improper privilege management. Lower Severity 0 day, CVSS 6.2, CVE 2026-21525, Windows Remote Access Connection Manager, null pointer dereference causing denial of service. Affects VPN connections to corporate networks. 2 critical rated vulnerabilities, CVSS 9.8, CVE 2026-21531, Azure SDK, and CVE 2026-24300, Azure Front Door, already patched server-side by Microsoft. Action: deploy February Patch Tuesday updates immediately. Prioritize CVE 2026-21510 and CVE 2026-21513 first, as they require only user interaction for exploitation and are ideal for phishing campaigns. Test updates via Asquity. Calm before broad rollout. Windows Update KBs. Windows 11 25H2/24H2. KB 5077181, Windows 11 23H2. KB 5075941, Windows 10 ESU. KB 5075912. Sources: Cyberscoop, Bleeping Computer, The Register, Talos, Krebs, CISA/KEV, Security Week, Sans ISK. Dark reading reported by 9+ sources. This is the top story of the day. Ivanti EPM zero-day exploitation hits European government agencies CVE 2026-1281 and CVE 2026-1340, CVSS 9.8 each, in Ivanti Endpoint Manager Mobile EPM, were exploited as 0 days to breach the Dutch Data Protection Authority. App, the Dutch Council for the Judiciary, the European Commission, and Finland's Valtori, affecting up to 50,000 government employees. Attackers accessed employee names, work emails, phone numbers, and device details. Ivanti patched both flaws on January 29. Exploitation was detected the same day. The management system did not permanently delete removed data, only marked it as deleted, so historical data from all organizations that ever used the service was also exposed. Watchtower CEO Benjamin Harris described the attacks as the work of a highly skilled, well-resourced actor executing a precision campaign. Action if running Ivanti EPM, patch immediately. Verify no unauthorized access occurred between January 29 and your patch date. Audit MDM data retention policies. Source, the Hacker News. Next section, Ransomware and Extortion. Warlock, Storm 2603. Ransomware breaches Smarter Tools via unpatched Smarter Mail. The Warlock ransomware group breached Smarter Tools' internal network on January 29 by exploiting an unpatched Smarter Mail VM that an employee had set up without the security team's knowledge. After initial access, attackers waited several days before taking over the Active Directory server, creating new users, and deploying Velociraptor, a forensics tool repurposed for persistence, and the ransomware locker. 12 Windows servers and a QC data center were encrypted. Hosted Smarter Track customers were also affected. 3 critical Smarter Mail CVEs are under active exploitation. CVE 2025-52691, CVSS 10.0, details not disclosed. CVE 2026-23760, CVSS 9.3, authentication bypass allowing admin password reset via crafted HTTP request. CVE 2026-24423, CVSS 9.3, unauthenticated remote code execution via Connect to Hub API. CISA confirmed exploitation in ransomware attacks. The attack chain, bypass authentication via CVE 2026-23760, use Smarter Mail's built-in volume mount feature for system control, install Velociraptor via malicious MSI from Supabase, then deploy ransomware. Action if running Smarter Mail, update to build 9511 immediately. Audit for unknown or shadow VMs running older versions. Smarter Mail instances should not be internet-facing without hardening. Source, the Hacker News. Reynolds Ransomware embeds BIOV driver to disable EDR, a new ransomware family called Reynolds Bundles of vulnerable NSEC soft NSEC KRNL driver. CVE 2025-68947, CVSS 5.7, directly inside the ransomware payload rather than deploying it as a separate pre-attack tool. This BIOVD bring your own vulnerable driver approach terminates EDR processes from Avast, CrowdStrike Falcon, Cortex XDR, Sophos/Hitman Pro, and Symantec before encrypting. The Silver Fox threat actor previously used the same driver to deploy Valley RAT. Bundling the defense evasion component with the payload is quieter, with no separate file drop on the network. A suspicious side-loaded loader was observed on victim networks weeks before ransomware deployment, and attackers also deployed GoToHTTP for persistent remote access. Action: ensure vulnerable driver blocklist policies are enforced via WDAC or HVCI. Monitor for NSEC KRNL driver loading. Block GoToHTTP remote access tool if not in use. Source: the Hacker News. Next section, Vulnerability Disclosures. GitHub Copilot/IDE command injection via prompt injection. Multiple RCE vulnerabilities in GitHub Copilot affect VS Code, Visual Studio, and JetBrains IDEs. CV E 2026-21516. The flaws stem from command injection triggered by prompt injection, where a malicious prompt tricks the AI agent into executing code or commands. Developers with access to API keys and cloud infrastructure credentials are high-value targets, and 2 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: update VS Code, Visual Studio, and JetBrains IDE plugins. Apply least privilege principles to AI agent integrations and review which systems have access to AI tools. Sources: Krebs, Talos. Adobe Patch Tuesday. 44 vulnerabilities in Creative Apps. Adobe patched 44 vulnerabilities across its Creative Applications suite, including several critical flaws enabling arbitrary code execution. Action: update Adobe Creative Cloud applications, critical for environments where designers open externally sourced files. Source: Security Week. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Linux RCE C.V. E. 2026-21537, code injection vulnerability in Microsoft Defender for Linux allows unauthenticated attackers to execute code over an adjacent network. Action: verify Defender for Linux is updated on any Linux servers in your environment. Source: MSRC. Windows Hyper-V local code execution C.V. E. 2026-21248, heap-based buffer overflow in Hyper-V allows authenticated local code execution. Action included in February Patch Tuesday: prioritize on Hyper-V hosts. Source: MSRC. Next section: Windows/Active Directory security. Secure Boot certificates, expiring June 2026, Microsoft has begun rolling out replacement Secure Boot certificates via monthly Windows updates. The original 2011 certificates expire in late June 2026. Devices that fail to update before expiration will continue to function but enter a degraded security state where new boot-level vulnerability mitigations cannot be installed. Over time, newer OS versions, firmware, and secure boot-dependent software may fail to load. Windows 10, without ESU, and older will not receive new certificates. Many PCs manufactured since 2024 already have updated certificates. Some devices may need firmware updates from OEM first. Action: ensure Windows Update is delivering February patches to all managed endpoints. Verify Secure Boot certificate status. Check OEM support pages for firmware updates on older hardware. Plan Windows 10 migrations before the June deadline compounds the EOL risk. IT admins can deploy certificates via registry keys, group policy, or WinCS. Sources: Bleeping Computer, Ars Technica. Microsoft 365 Admin Center outage, North America. The M365 Admin Center and M365 app experienced degraded functionality for North American users. Admins could not raise support tickets or access the portal. Microsoft is investigating CPU utilization levels as a potential root cause. This follows similar outages in January 2025 and July 2025. Action: no customer action required. Be aware that support ticket creation via Admin Center is unavailable during the outage. Use alternate support channels if needed. Source: Bleeping Computer. Next section: General Security News. PICU's Red Report 2026, Ransomware Shifting to Stealth and Persistence Analysis of 1 million malicious files shows a strategic pivot in attacker behavior. Data encrypted for Impact T1486 dropped 38% year-over-year, 21% to 12.9%. Credential theft from password stores T1555 now appears in 25% of attacks. 8 of the top 10 ATT and CK techniques prioritize evasion and persistence over disruption. Attackers are optimizing for maximum dwell time rather than immediate impact, using data extortion instead of encryption. Takeaway: traditional ransomware detection focused on encryption behavior is increasingly insufficient. Credential monitoring, identity protection, and detection of persistence mechanisms should be prioritized alongside encryption-focused detections. Source: The Hacker News that concludes today's cyber threat brief. From Carolina Clear Tech. Stay patched, stay vigilant.